Welcome to Lacoochee, Florida in 1955. The mill makes the lumber, the stores make some money. Pay and debt are just numbers. The air smells like cypress. It smells sweeter than ever to those who thought life was a stinking endeavor. There's jobs for the able, though they don't pay a lot. They buy food, clothes, and shelter, and that's more than we've got. There's a place to raise children, where my parents raised me. With help from the harvest completed, the work is all done. The swamps have been ravaged. They took the money and run. A new age is dawning for the youth, so they say. Love, peace, and long hair, and rock and roll play. Goodbye, Jack the Barber. I'll see you someday. Welcome to Lacoochee, Florida, 1975. The disco craze died north of here, but we're still staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive. North Vietnam won, South Vietnam lost. Tricky Dick got busted and we got double-crossed. I chose not to serve, though some served in my stead. Some came home with stories and some came home dead. Who said war is hell? It don't matter, it's true. Some people give everything they've got to give, and the people who profit are few. The rich win again. What is new? Welcome to Lacoochee, Florida, 1985. The mill that starved for lumber, concrete could not revive. Hopes of resurrection were pipe dreams at their best. The pipes they built sucked water from the ground and pumped it west. And while the pipe plant soaked up profits, the workers were left high and dry. I guess you live and you learn and pay taxes, you buy stuff and lose stuff and die. An actor resides in the White House and I act like I couldn't care. I've seen how a man brave and honest and smart has been treated up there. Life may not ever get better, but it couldn't get that much worse. It's like a hard rain, can't get any wetter, so I might as well start the last verse. Welcome to Lacoochee, Florida, 1995. My, how time flies, an old century dies. A guy like me tries to just live and survive. Lacoochee is just geography. People need a place to be. A place where they can hang their hat and have a daughter, son, or a dog, or a cat. A house, a job, a husband, or a wife. You can just exist or make a life. When I see some lost tourist, I don't run and hide. I say, give me the keys to that rental car. I'll take you for a ride. There's still things here worth seeing. You better see them before they're gone. Because when only memories linger, memories must live on. One lonely evening, alone in Lacoochee, the sun was starting to set. When Leonard walked out to gamble his future, that day he placed his final bet. A six-pack of beer was all he took with him. Did he know it would be his last meal? He should have found someplace better for drinking than between those two tracks of steel. But oh no, didn't someone see the flashing signal? Didn't someone hear the ringing bell? The whistle is blowing, the train is not slowing, and Leonard's sitting right on the rail. Some people said Leonard was a slave to the bottle. He picked oranges to pay for his fun. But the fun ain't as funny when you've spent all your money and no one will buy you just one. And some called him a wino, but you may think, and I know, that's no label to pin on a man. Because if drinking's a sickness, with you as my witness, Leonard's cure was a drink in his hand. But oh no, didn't someone see the flashing signal? Didn't someone hear the ringing bell? The whistle is blowing, the train is not slowing, and Leonard's sitting right on the rail. And now Leonard is gone, and we're left to wonder what happened through his eyes that night. Was suicide tried? Was he tired of living, tired of trying and losing the fight? I think Leonard was a man who was lost in a tunnel for years with no end in sight. And maybe that night when the train search beam hit him, old Leonard could finally see light. But oh no, didn't someone see the flashing signal? Didn't someone hear the ringing bell? The whistle is blowing, the train is not slowing, and Leonard's sitting right on the rail. Well, O.D. King don't drink much, just enough to stay in touch. He dropped by to see me the other day. We went for a ride, a little snort. He reached under the seat and pulled out a quart. I said I knew it was going to turn out this way. 1 6-pack later, we was down in the river. We was singing an underwater song. 1 6-pack later, we was wrestling with gators. We was teaching the bass to sing along. But O.D. handed me a pill or two and said, I think these will be good for you. I said, they don't look like aspirin to me. He said they won't cure your headache, but try the difference they make in the appearance of a plain old cypress tree. 1 6-pack later, we was swinging from branches. We was making monkeys out of men. 1 6-pack later, we was crawling through bushes. We was calling the armadillos friend. Well, we headed back the long way home with my head about the size of the Astrodome and my stomach sloshing like a goldfish bowl. Then we pulled a U-turn and reversed our way, and we slid to a stop on the riverbank clay. And now Old Man River watches me and O.D. roll. 1 6-pack later, we was dancing with otters. We was wearing cottonmouths tied around our heads. 1 6-pack later, we was racing with turtles. We was drinking a nightcap in our riverbed beds. Well, son, don't go to Weaver Hole Slough. Don't go to Devil's Creek. There's something out there in them woods that ain't ate good in a week. They found some armadillo shells and some old swamp bird bones, and they just might find what's left of you if you go out there alone. There's a wild man in the green swamp, and you best better stay away. But they're going to find what's out there if it takes 100 days. They called out game wardens, the sheriff's posse too, some local law enforcement, and a pack of dogs named Blue. They all went a-wading, skinned shins on cypress knees. The men got ticks and leeches, and the hounds just drowned some fleas. They beat all the bushes, and they used a fine-tooth comb. But that wild man just kept hiding in them woods he called a home. They spotted him near Clay Sink and off of US 98. That wild man sure is fleet of foot. It made the searchers think. But then he found civilization in search of food one day, and they rounded up the wild man and carried him away. He was just an immigrant, as if somebody cared, and the wild man wasn't wild at all, just hungry, tired, and scared. But they took him up to Bushnell and they placed him in a cell, and the wild man from the green swamp hanged himself in the Sumter jail. There's a wild man in the green swamp, and we best better stay away. But they're going to find what's out there if it takes 100 days. I have no faith in heaven, and I hold no fear of hell, but those that call me atheist don't know me very well. And I might hate a yellow man or red or tie-dyed if I thought in the final end it could be justified. Sometimes I get a notion like I'm sitting on a fence. Which way I fall is up to me. I'd better use my sense. On one side there's disaster. That's something I can't use. On the other side they're singing those with Lacoochee River Basin blues. The Great White North is calling, and prison bars call too. The president sends greetings, and I wonder what to do. All roads lead to the future, but they all lead far away to some unknown destination, and my journey starts today. What can a young man do when his shoes are filled with sand and he gets a feeling like his life's in someone else's hands? Do you take that ball and run with it, or run the other way? It's that with the Lacoochee River Basin that has me in its sway. Now, a poor man is a migrant. He walks from town to town. rich man has traveled broadened with a plane to get around. But that river needs no orders, no dog tags for ID. It just runs north to Yankeetown and passes right by me. And sometimes I get a notion like I'm sitting on a fence. Which way I fall is up to me. I'd better use my sense. On one side there's disaster. That's something I can't use. On the other side there's singing those with the Lacoochee River Basin blues. Some folks drink Crown Royal, or some drink Seven Crown. Some folks will drink anything that some folks bring around. But me, I like to specialize, and the worst of all my fears is that I'll become a jester in the court of the King of Beers. Well, Bud, you know that you and I have both seen better days, back when I was still perfecting my rough and rowdy ways. And now my liver might can take it, but there's something between my ears that makes me feel just like a jester in the court of the King of Beers. And now I wake up in the morning and I can't get out of bed because I feel just like a Clydesdale is standing on my head. But I know the dog that bit me better than I know myself, so I'll open up the icebox door and take one off the shelf. Because when you're a jester, you sometimes play the fool. And when you're a joker, you obey the king's rule. And when you're a subject, you felt the scepter sting, and you help the other jesters sing, God save the king. I wish I was a hippie out living in the street, wearing beads around my neck and sandals on my feet, panhandling peace and flying high on pot and wings of doves, as the Beatles sing the theme song, All You Need Is Love. Wish I was a poet set free upon this nation, hitching down the highway with that beat generation, destination Denver, on the road and headed west to meet Kerouac and Burroughs and Ginsberg and the rest. Wish I was a hobo spinning tales of life, singing songs about dust so thick you could cut it with a knife, bumming around this country with the guitar on my back and visions of Woody in my brain as I walk the railroad track. Wish I was an actor back when Shakespeare's words were new. I'd strut and fret my hour and say my lines on cue. But we're not merely players, and this world is no stage. So I just wish to be myself and try to act my age. Can't go straight and I can't keep myself upright. Though I hit the ground, I'll never give up the fight. I was born too loose and there's no relief inside. I was born to lose, I was born for raising hell. I wear my heart on my sleeve above a picture of a southern belle. I got a cheap tattoo and a tale no tongue can tell. It says I love on one arm, then it says Donna, Marcia, Becky, and Sue. And then I changed my mind, so I covered up the other two with the face of the devil, so there's no room left for you. When this canvas dies, send what's left to the pearly gate. I'll look for needle and ink if I have a little time to wait, and have my soul tattooed with the verdict of my fate. But I was born to lose, I was born for raising hell. I wear my heart on my sleeve above a picture of a southern belle. I got a cheap tattoo and a tale no tongue can tell. Well, it's New Year's Eve, 1999, but I'd like to do an Easter poem for you. It's called Judging the Easter Art Show. I like a picture of Jesus with long hair, a beard, and clear eyes. His likeness is always in fashion in small, large, or medium size. They say that his Father in heaven sent him down to live on this earth, conceived by a virginal mother, delivered in flesh at his birth. They say that his days here were numbered, that he lived, preached, and died for our sin, and despite the cruel way he was treated, they say he will come back again. I like a picture of Jesus as baby, as Savior, as Son, I like a story of Jesus and miraculous things he has done. I like a picture of Jesus. I like his earthly disguise. Created like us in God's image, I give his image first prize.